guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another dupe video for you guys. So today I'm going to be speaking about two foundations, one that is very expensive that I recently spoke about. You guys probably know what it is. It is the La Mer foundation, and I'm going to compare it to a very inexpensive foundation. I mean, it's a little expensive for drugstore, but it's very, very inexpensive compared to $120. Is the Physicians Formula The Healthy Foundation. Now, I did review both of these foundations during different times. I reviewed this early in 2018, and I was looking through my footage trying to find something that was similar to this La Mer foundation, but was very affordable. And it took me some time, but I think I may have something that competes with this expensive foundation. If you've been eyeing it, I may got you covered. So I'm gonna put these to the side really fast. I wanna go ahead and prep my skin. Okay, so I already went ahead and moisturized my face with my first A Beauty Instant Repair Cream, and now we're gonna move on to our primer. So today for primer, I'm going to be taking two of my favorite primers at the moment. First, I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This primer I am obsessed with currently. It is so good, and it is an amazing dupe for the touch. So I'm just gonna be taking some of this e.l.f. primer. So I'm just going to be taking this primer and applying it all throughout the areas where I have enlarged pores. So right in this area, I tend to always have those issues, and I'm just gonna kind of drag it along the T-zone. It's just so smooth and silky, but still super hydrating, so it's not gonna dry out your skin. So I really recommend the e.l.f. primer. If you wanna see a review on it, I will have it linked up here, so you guys can go ahead and check that out ASAP. So now that we have that in place, we're gonna go ahead and take my Milani Prime Shield Primer. This is mattifying and pore minimizing. The reason I'm using a mattifying primer is because both of these foundations are more for the luminous individual, like the individual who wants more luminous finish. So that's why I just want to prep my skin the right way so that it doesn't get out of hand. And we're just going to be applying this primer kind of like on the outer parts of my face where I didn't go in with the e.l.f. primer. I'm excited to jump into this because I just have a good feeling, and we're having a good eyeshadow day, so I'm like, yes. This eyeshadow look, by the way, is with the ILUVSARAHIII Through My Eyes palettes. This palette, every look I've created the past three videos has been with this palette. And real quick, the reason I love this matte primer is because it doesn't completely dry out your skin. Like, you know those matte primers that just soak everything up and your skin literally feels so tight? This doesn't do that. It gives it like that soft, smooth matte finish, like just a very like subtle one where it's not like holy shiz, but it's just a really good situation. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the foundations. So this foundation retails for $14 and I think 95 cents or something like that. This retails for $120. Now, if you do buy this at CVS, it's gonna be like $17, which is not your best bet. So I would say go to like Walmart or Rite Aid, Walgreens. Don't go to CVS. I feel like CVS always overprice their products, and I'm just kind of like, CVS, why? I love you to death, but you need to control your shit. I actually used a different color. I used most of my other Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation, but I decided to purchase another one because this one I felt like matched me a little bit better than the one that I previously had. So right now I'm in the color MN4, and the La Mer is Buff 23A. Okay, so I want to discuss the similarities that these have. So the first thing that stood out to me is that they both give you a very healthy skin-like finish, a luminous finish. It's buildable coverage for both of these foundations, which we will put to the test in a little bit. They also have 20 SPF both. Now, I do have to say, for a product that is $120, I expect way more than 20 SPF. 20 SPF isn't going to do anything for you. If I'm paying $120, I expect there to be at least 40 to like 50 SPF, something similar to IT Cosmetics. And I mentioned that in the review. I felt like that was kind of a ripoff. I'm paying so much money and you're gonna give me this shitty SPF? No thanks. The Healthy Foundation, which also has 20 SPF, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm not the most worried about because I'm not paying $120 for this. I'm paying $14. I can use my own sunscreen, which has way more SPF, and call it a day. I'm not cutting this slack. I'm just saying that if I'm paying $120, I expect this product to have everything I need and more. Now, these, like I just mentioned, they both have very buildable finishes, and I'm excited to see how they're gonna perform. So as we go through this review, I'm gonna be telling you guys a little bit more about the foundations and why I feel like they could be a dupe for the La Mer, and we can just start to develop our thoughts through the process. So if you want to continue watching and see if this is a dupe for the La Mer, then please go ahead and do so. Okay, so I have you guys in super duper close because I want to go ahead and just put these two products to the test. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the La Mer foundation because I mean, I want to get this one out of the way because the price just like shocks me every time I even think about it. Like whenever I put this on my skin, I'm like, wow, this foundation is so freaking expensive. How could I do this to myself? And there's actually another one that's more expensive. I think it's the La Perrier or La Perrier. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I think it's French, but it's like $200. And I'm like, if I go ahead and check that out at some point and I see that it has like 20 SPF, I'm literally going to just flip a table like Teresa Giudice, because I mean, what? Okay, so I'm gonna be taking my Tarte, I was about to say Tarte Shape Tape. I'm gonna be taking my Tarte Kabuki brush. This is from the Bamboo Airbrush brush. It's actually a really nice brush. I've been obsessed with it lately. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pump out this foundation. And as you can see, it has that very creamy like finish that we recently talked about. And I'm going to just apply it. And because we already reviewed this, I'm just gonna kind of give you guys the things that I liked about it. So I'm just taking this brush and going in circular motions to really blend it out. I really love how easy it blends. I feel like that's an important aspect of it. And I also love that it feels very lightweight on the skin. But to be honest, I don't think it's anything that's worth $120. That's just me saying it. So I'm just gonna take the whatever's left of the foundation and apply it. As you can see, this is with one layer. And you can see the difference of how it covers on my forehead where I don't have any imperfections, very evened out skin. It applies right away. Like if my skin looked like my forehead, as even as my forehead, I probably would only go in with this layer and call it a day. I used to be huge on like full coverage, like just caking that on and like adding more layers and more layers, even if my skin didn't need it. But as I'm getting older, I'm noticing that honestly, less is more. Like the less product you put on your skin, the better it is for your skin to breathe through it. So I feel like a lot of times us watching and being caught up in like the like new forms of makeup and how people just cake it on, and you know that finish looks so beautiful, but sometimes all of that makeup just cannot be good for your skin. Like just packing layers and layers of foundation, powdering, and like all this extra stuff and making it so full coverage, it just is too much for the skin to handle, especially for like a day-to-day basis. What I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm gonna leave this on just one layer that we went in, and I'm gonna start to go in with the Healthy Foundation. The difference about these foundations is that the La Mer comes with a pump, and the Healthy Foundation comes with the doe foot applicator, which I actually really have become a big fan of doe foot applicators, and I feel like it just makes it so much easier for you not to get your fingers dirty, so I just live for that. Now the only thing though about having a doe foot applicator, in my opinion, I feel like I can tend to go in with more product because I have the room to just kind of like start swiping it on. I am gonna go ahead and use another brush because I wanna make sure that I don't use the same brush and, you know, mix formulas. I'm gonna be using the Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush and the JH03, and we're gonna begin blending this out. Okay, I feel like this color, oh my God. I feel like this foundation smells so similar to this La Mer foundation. Like it has like that, it's like, I've said it in my other video when I was talking about the La Mer, but like a very like subtle, like sweet liquor, like apple pie from McDonald's. Like it has that type of smell. Now I do feel like this color is lighter than what I envisioned. So I may have to go exchange that again. I remember last year when I reviewed the other color I had, I thought it was a little light. But that's the one thing I don't like about Physicians Formula is that I feel like their color range needs to be expanded. I'm just like, what are you doing? So this is, we did, how many stripes? I think we did like 4 stripes of the foundation, I think. And this is the coverage that we got. So you can see very similar with one layer that we went in. Very, very similar coverage. They're both buildable like I mentioned earlier. They're a medium coverage that you can build up to a fuller coverage. So this is definitely products that would just benefit somebody with really nice even skin. If you have problematic skin, I would say maybe you want something a little bit more fuller coverage but still has that nice lightweight consistency. So let's go ahead and stripe up here. Yeah, I feel like this, what the heck, man? I feel like the lighting really messes it up because when I was in CVS, I was like, I'm pretty sure this one's gonna be better than the last one, but I still feel like this is a little light. Okay. Yeah, like the foreheads, I feel like are clear. Like, do you see, it looks like I'm wearing the same foundation on both sides of the forehead. Same situation. The cheeks, because of their texture and the rosacea, also feel like I'm wearing the same thing, and I need to build it up to one more layer to really get it to where I want it to be. So that's what we're gonna do next. I just kind of wanted you guys to see what both foundations look side by side with just one layer on. So let's go ahead and go in with hopefully just one more layer because I don't want to pack on a lot of foundation. Now the good thing about both of these foundations is that I feel like no matter what you do with it, it is a buildable foundation, but they won't give you cake face. And I feel like that's so essential. We're moving into a time period where it's really nice to have foundations that just look so skin-like and really flatter the skin, especially if you do have texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and do one pump of the La Mer, and we're just gonna dot this just all over the cheeks, also right here, and then some on the nose. Now I do have to say the consistency of the La Mer is a very nice wet creamy consistency, but so is the one by Physicians Formula. So let's go ahead and go back in with the brush that we used on the La Mer side. Do you see how it kind of gives you that wet finish at first? Like it just looks really wet and radiant, but then when it dries down, it gives you a very nice, just normal finish where it's not like, whoa, she matte, or whoa, she's super luminous. You know what I mean? It just gives you that perfect like glow from within. And both of these claim to be luminous, but not overly luminous. Okay, yeah, we're good. With 2 layers, that did its thing. Just gonna go with whatever's left on the back of my hand. I just love this brush. I like it because it's not flat, like a flat top kabuki, but it kind of has a little bit of a round, ooh, I just poked my nose. It kind of has a little bit of a rounded effect, similar to the Jaclyn Hill brush, like a rounded effect here. But this one is much more fluffier than this brush. But both brushes are great, some of my favorite brushes. My Delium Tools brush, still love it, but I need to get a new one because it's breaking on me. It's so sad. We're good. Because now what I can go ahead and do is I can go ahead and take a concealer, maybe a fuller coverage concealer if needed, and cover my eyes, and this look will be complete. I feel like the skin just looks very healthy, and that's what matters. Now I do have to say, now that I have both products on the skin, they both feel very, very similar. They have this nice satin finish where it just feels super nice and just clean and smooth, and that's something that I really appreciate. I don't like something that feels really thick and heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a few more swipes. Okay, do you guys see the, oh my gosh, the similarities, man. When you first apply both foundations, you're seeing that super radiant luminous effect. You saw it here and you start to see that kind of go away a little bit, but still give you some nice radiance that looks like radiance from within. That's the same thing that's going on with this Healthy Foundation by Physicians Formula. God, it's so similar. And I'm not even joking, they smell very, very similar. Like, this is a different brush, which is why I used 2 different brushes, because I wanted to really feel it out and keep formula separate from each other. And I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa. Another suggestion that I want to make is that when you're working with a foundation that's buildable coverage, more on the radiant luminous side, you want to go ahead and use a brush and kind of pat it in and bounce it a little bit, because that allows the finish to be a little bit more fuller coverage than what you would expect as you like swiping it or kind of brushing it too much. I decided to not use beauty blenders because I feel like when I'm working with both of these foundations, beauty blenders tend to soak up too much of that product, especially because I always like to wet my beauty blenders. I like to just have them a little damp where I can kind of like absorb some of that foundation. And the reason I like to do that a lot is because a lot of foundations that I tend to use are full coverage foundations. So maybe I tend to go a little heavier and I can just go ahead and go with my sponge, soaks it up, you know what I mean? But when you're using a brush, it's not damp, so you're not worried about that. Oh my God, guys, I really can't with the fact that this foundation is just the same thing as this foundation. I feel like the only difference may be that this one is a little tiny bit lighter than this one. Like, this is more my accurate color. But like, this is so similar. And you guys are seeing it. That's the cool thing. You guys are literally seeing it like here. And it's not something I'm just like, oh my God, this is a dupe. You know? It's like you're actually seeing it for yourself. I'm so shook. I think right now we're seeing pretty even results with both of them. And they both look like they have a nice radiance from within. They both look very healthy. I mean, hence the name, the Healthy Foundation by Physicians Formula. But the La Mer one looks just as healthy as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of my face. I will come back and discuss with you my first initial thoughts using all the other products, how it works, and then we can go ahead and get our day started and see how both of these foundations react together. Okay, so I am back. I finished my face. I went ahead and did some concealer, blush, bronzer, lipstick, highlight. So not that much, but I'm ready to give you guys some of my thoughts and experiences while I was doing my blush and my concealer. When I put on my concealer, I always like to use my beauty blender because I like to have a damp sponge that can just lay everything there nicely. I always love using a sponge to do my concealer. I do have to say though, if you did watch my La Mer video, you guys saw that when I use a sponge with this, I just could not get it to work. Like, it would absorb the product, and I mentioned that earlier. But I was like, maybe because I'm not putting on the foundation, I'm actually just putting on concealer, I'll be fine. But I noticed here that there's some areas where it did make the product like come off with the sponge. So I would say if you're gonna use the La Mer foundation, use it with a brush, and if you're gonna be applying concealer, use either your fingers or use a little small brush to apply that concealer, because it will move. I'm about to show you guys, if I can try to get it as close as I can with my camera so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So if you guys see, right in this area, it's kind of separating. I just went ahead and kind of dusted it off with my powder brush because I did go ahead and set it with my setting powder, just because you guys know my under eyes crease if I don't do that step. So I did go ahead and set it a little bit with the powder, but you can still see that there's little marks right here where I have that stuff transferring. Now, as for blush, I went ahead and used my Milani blush. I used this one right here, which is in the shade Coralina, and you can see how some of it kind of separated a little bit, and it sheared out my foundation. I used a brush, and it just really sheared out the foundation. And because I was already having issues of you seeing my redness peek through because some of the foundation did remove, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in with a blush in the area where it looks like it's my rosacea and make it look like it's just blush on my skin. And I feel like it definitely did help. I didn't experience that whatsoever on here. I feel like on here it just looks very perfected. When I did go ahead and use the blush, it didn't make the blush separate. It didn't make the foundation come off. It just looks very good. It's set so beautifully. You guys did see that radiance on both sides, but I'm noticing that on both sides, it ended up setting very nicely, very skin-like, which is what I really appreciate. The only difference I'm seeing between these two foundations is the color. Obviously, it's never gonna be the exact color because we're using two completely different foundations. I do wanna go ahead and pick up another shade of this Physicians Formula foundation because I feel like the one that I have is a little too light. So I feel like maybe I could go the next shade up, but we'll have to see about that one. But like I mentioned, I feel like during the process of me applying my products that I always like to apply, I had more issues with the La Mer side than I did have issues with the side of using the Healthy Foundation by Physicians Formula. Physicians Formula side looks really good. You guys can see that. It just looks really nice. But we're gonna see. So that's why we're gonna go ahead and wear this foundation for the entire day. So I am back. It is now 7:15 p.m. and I have some really well-developed thoughts on both of the foundations, the La Mer and the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. I keep saying but seriously, like, if you guys look at my skin right now, it looks identical. It looks like I'm wearing the same exact foundation. The only thing that I mentioned to you guys was that the only thing that was off was the color. This one was a little bit lighter. So I did pick up another shade, which is DW2, which is the next shade up, and I think this one is perfection. I have like 3 of the Physicians Formula foundations. I have to say Physicians Formula is a really, really good foundation, this Healthy Foundation. You guys can see that my skin does look a little bit radiant, a little tiny bit luminous. It's nothing crazy on my oily skin, but people that have dry, normal skin are absolutely going to love this Healthy Foundation because it is really amazing, and I just have to say right now, it is most definitely a dupe for this $120 La Mer foundation. And to be honest, I feel like the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation is better and more efficient than the La Mer when it comes to you use to apply it. You can use both a sponge and a brush and it'll apply it so much better than the La Mer foundation. With the La Mer foundation, you really have to just go in with a brush or else it's not going to give you what you want. I do feel like they both give you really good healthy benefits. I like the fact that with this one, I'm getting straight up ingredients. I feel like with the La Mer foundation, it says that it has that miracle broth, and I kept researching, and maybe if you guys know more information, I would love for you guys to teach me, educate me down below in the comment section, but I just kept seeing that, but I wasn't really seeing more than that. I did mention to you guys some of the ingredients that it did have in my review, but other than that, I wasn't getting like really full in depth, the nitty gritty of it for me to understand what would be the $120 price tag along with it, other than the fact that it is a La Mer product and La Mer is high-end. Just as if I were to buy a Chanel foundation, it would probably be stupid expensive because of the name. I feel like if you're somebody that's looking for something that will be very similar to La Mer, perhaps you've tried La Mer and you really enjoy it, but you want something that will perform similar and you just don't want to pay that much money again, I would say try the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. If you're somebody that can't afford to buy the La Mer foundation but really want something similar to that, perhaps you've tried the sample, perhaps you tried it in store and you really enjoyed it, then I would say get the Healthy Foundation. And if you're just somebody looking for a new foundation and you want something that's very nice wear, that's very like breathable, that is buildable and gives you a very beautiful skin-like finish, then try the Healthy Foundation because you will not regret it. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on these foundations. We did find the dupe and that makes me super excited for you guys. If you do want to try out something more affordable, then here it is. I'm so excited. Those are all my thoughts for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It lets me know to continue doing these videos. So if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. I would love for you to become a member of our family here on YouTube because I wouldn't want you guys to miss my fun videos for the world. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell down below so that you're notified every single time I upload a new video because I wouldn't want you guys to miss my videos because, I mean, let's be real, I bring you guys some great shit. So I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye guys!